So we are dealing with the practice of who we are being, the awareness of who we are being. So that's what we have been dealing with. Because we are rounding up the year now, and these classes are weekly till the end of the year. And so we want to see how we can put them to practice. Because if something is not built into your routine, then it is just intellectual knowledge. So many of us have done projects here in the university as part of our graduations that some of us have forgotten the title and forgotten the. So it didn't come into this thing, but this is not an academic exercise. So for those of us who joined from the UK, 1 hour behind. So for you to set your alarm on 6 a.m. And this must not end up, you can screenshot, okay. This must not end up as an academic exercise. So the floor is open. Let's listen to anyone who has had an opportunity to be aware of who they were being, to be aware. Because if I think we were saying this, I think for the third or fourth class, I'm not too sure. So if none of what we are learning mistakenly strolls into your daily activity, I can't. It's not that it's all useless, but we just need to do more. We just need to intentionally decide that we are going to practice, what we are learning. And if that is what we have decided, I mean, the way it begins to come in is that we begin to either we catch ourselves before or during or after. Now, yeah, sometimes it will look like what is the use after? And after is for learning. Okay, I goofed. There's nothing wrong in goofing. It is what is wrong is when you didn't know that you even goofed. When you didn't know that that thing was wrong. When you didn't know that, look, this response was wrong. This attitude was wrong. But it is when you begin to practice, it becomes part because, like I say, and I'll keep saying, when I examine the way I am being, I will just say, man, it is not the fault of anybody. The system of the world or what it means to be human, the system of the world. When I say the system of the world, don't go too wide. The way we have all wound up here and labels the world, because we are in this humanity, we are in this humanity. We are learning how to be who we are. There are some quotes to say, a spiritual person having an earthly experience. We are learning how to have an earthly experience. So the earthly experience, I said in one class that the way what we have learned to where we are today has almost like removed 70%. But as I look at my own life, I say it's more than 70%. Now, you don't have to bother about that judgment. So it's an individual one. But it's just a way we have come to categorize life, categorize things, categorize the impact of what others do on us. So I said in last week class that the only problem in the world, I think it's a quote, I can't remember who said it now, is interpersonal relationships, where the boundaries of God stop, where the boundaries of God stop. And in the introduction I did to today's class, I told the story of flying from Port Harcourt to Lagos and how, look, I've flown value jet more than one time. And because the planes are very small, the compartments, most standard laptop bags won't enter. And they will take it from me and go and tag. And now here am I so tired. And somebody says, you go down and tag it. The default is no. Now, but thank God I caught myself. Thank God I caught myself. Then in another instance I wrote about, I'm looking at somebody's status and I'm judging the person. I remember I was in a conference in Atlanta several years ago, and one of the speakers says, "This is all we do. This is all we do." I don't, this is all we do now. So that is also part of humanity. So just the way your face looks, you know, the way when I catch myself, and I just say, that is you. It is you that's saying this. It is you that is saying the way she talks is blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with her. Now, every time I say it is me, it's all up to me. Then the awareness is building. The awareness and the need to stir myself off the path that I have lived in most of my life begins to grow. All right, that's by way of introduction, which I didn't want to last more than 5 minutes. So who here has been able to catch yourself in something? Sorry, the floor is open. I'm trying to just pick up something. The floor is open.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all.
Good morning, Harriet.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yes, being aware of your being. Yeah, it has been replaying to me, more often than any other time since we started this lesson. Like this last past week finishing, I was involved in a discussion with my boss. Ordinarily, I would have reacted in a different way. But because as she was talking, I was asking myself, who am I being in this discussion? Who do I want? What do I want to take out of whatever is going on? Do I want to be angry with what she's saying or calm down, and look at the end from this beginning to say, it is peace I want and nothing else? You understand? It's just because of what we have been learning here that made me to go through that processing in my mind, to have that patience, to allow her to speak everything she wants to speak. Then at the end of the day, I just replied in a simple way. And, it did not aggravate her further, anger or annoyance, because she saw it that I did not even see that what she's saying is going to have an impact on me or make me to be less of who I think myself to be. You understand? So it's me pausing to to think, who am I being? Am I Do I want to be referred to somebody who does not listen, or who will always want to speak against anything from the beginning? So I just calmed down and listened. So it's from this class that I'm getting, what I would call that kind of patience more and more in my life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the floor is open. I'm really excited to hear what Harriet has shared. Any opportunity where you can catch yourself and look, who am I being? What is the context in which I am coming from in this anger? The context is this is not what they should talk to. This is not the way they should talk to me. I said to somebody, a friend of mine in Port Harcourt before I left Port Harcourt, I said, this is the first time I came for a conference and I did what they call networking. I said, my personality will normally tie me to a chair. Now, for the last, let's say, 18 months, since last year, I started trying to see, I can't go to a conference and I didn't meet anybody new. But this time, it was so intentional. The Brigadier General that was with me on stage, we exchanged numbers, we talked about the things we could do later. I went to everybody, all the panelists, talked with Ruben Abad before I would just get up the stage. And it's the way I was brought up, it's the way I grew up. I'm an introvert. But now I sat down. Initially, my old personality was holding me. So it just occurred to me. So what are you trying to don't want to be? I didn't even finish it and I got up. All right, sorry, I don't want to dominate to this class. So it's practicing what has shown up for you in what conversation, in what moments of life have you been able to see any of the things we are learning in this class?
All right, I will go.
Go ahead.
Good morning again, coach.
Good morning.
Okay. Actually, behind the scene, I'm embarking on a leadership class, John Maxwell Leadership, and I try to make things to us about attitude, relationship, and the last time it did talked about intention. In fact, I never saw it that way. Is why most times we speak change and we never change, we are not intentional about it. That until we become intentional about who we want to be, what we are doing, everything will just remain in our head. That thing touched me. I know that I think that's my kind of carelessness because sometimes we just assume who we are. We are not that person, but we are not intentional to make ourselves. It is one thing to tell yourself, I want to be intentional. I want to be like this. It's another thing to be intentional to say, this thing I have said, oh, how can I be? Then he said something. He said, why not put down those things you want to be and tell yourself how you want to achieve them? And tell yourself, what are these things that will limit me from achieving this personality that I want to be? Because we're looking at personality and leadership. And I began to see it. And from this class, we've been talking about being, but have we really been intentional about being who we want to be? Or we just come and discuss every Saturday and we go, are we really applying this thing? And a lot, I apply those things in my relationship with people. And what I begin to discover, I started becoming firm with my decision. Sometimes there's this sentiment that comes in. You want everybody to be happy at the detriment of your own joy. You want everybody to be happy. You know they are wrong, but you just want everybody to be happy. Yes, I tolerate people, but I become firm and say, no, if we are not doing this thing, we are not doing this. Something happened recently in my job, and I was called upon to take an assignment, and I gave a condition. I did that the first time, they didn't take it. I did that the second time. The third time, I took that decision, and the prof started calling, and I didn't pick his call. And I told the DVC, I said, this is it. He said, oh, what they did to you was wrong. I said, no, I was just letting you know. If you hear it outside, don't think that I was disrespectful to my superior, but this was the challenge. He said, no, you were right with what you did. I said, okay, thank you. But I just learned to be firm. So when they called me, I said, no, I said, those rules I gave to you, they are still standing. Just follow that and we follow. And I discovered that if I become more firm with my decision, if I become intentional, being who I want to really be, I will map it out. I began to map it out. Though I'm not done yet. And I follow it, I believe I will be better. So one thing I have learned so much in this class that touched me more from this class was the first time you talked about you can be. And I know that one day I will become the president of this nation. That's the truth. Yes, no, you stated it clearly and I followed it. I began to study great men. We were doing a class in our leadership and they were telling us that who do we like to be like? People were mentioning names I never knew. I said, I want to be like Abraham Lincoln. I want to be like Nelson Mandela. I want to be like Mahatma Gandhi. These are class leaders that have lived their generation. They are dead, but their name is still ringing because they became something phenomenal in their generation. And that is one thing I believe that if I take away anything, I want to be intentional to be who I am as Omojewo Kenerubu said, not just come to be in class every weekend and we talk and we go. I need to start applying all these things and make a better change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Omojewo. The floor is open. What has shown up for how has the knowledge of what we have been learning on this Saturday class showed up in any of your dealings?
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Janice.
I just want to share one of the practices I did last Sunday. I attended the dinner party for the new organization I'm going to be leading. I'm starting on Monday. And I was invited for the dinner party. For the past about 5 years now, everywhere I've worked, I end up being the only Black person there. And anytime I want to start, it's always on my mind that, oh, you are going to be the only Black person. You're in senior management position. And I tend to start the position initially being anxious before I get used to it, you know. But this time around, having attended this being and the concept saying that it's meaningless, it's just you interpreting it that, oh, you're the only Black. If it's the me of before, when I want to attend that, I will be wondering, how do I behave? The culture is different. You know, I overthink it. But going to that dinner party on Sunday, I told myself that my color does not matter. I'm going to be leading these people in this table. It's a big team. I know I'm the only Black there, but it doesn't matter. When I was interviewed, they knew there was no Black in the organization. And I have been employed to lead the organization. They must have seen something in me. Why will I be anxious? And I told myself it's meaningless. If it is the me of before, I would have just sat down, look at them and say I'm studying them. But I told myself that I'm a bubbling person. I am going to be who I am. That is who I am. I'm the life of the party anywhere I go to. And I got in there. I sat down for the first 5 minutes. I was late and I just sat down and I said, oh, I shouldn't have been late. And I started giving excuse again why I should sit in one place. Just like Mr. Tunde said, as soon as he thought, I just stood up. I said, if I start brewing on this, I just stood up, walked to the extreme end of the table, and I started greeting everybody. Oh, I've not met you. So what's your name? So what? And by the time I started it, that fear, that anxiety, it just disappeared. So sometimes all you need to do is step into that water. It's just when you start practicing it, by the time you are in the act, you get distracted from your initial fears and emotions. And by the time I was leaving that place, so many people, they were hugging me, say, oh, we can't wait for you to start. We've been waiting for you. See you Monday. And the room just came alive. And those that were hugging me, those that they were just excited. So, oh, we are really looking forward to you starting. And by the time I walked out of that place, I said, oh my God, thank God for being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Janice. Mr. Odunayo, the floor is yours. You're muted.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, just to say that we have too many stories, though. Too many stories. So I would say the most recent is I resumed a new role in November, and just like Janice said, but for her it's different. So it's not. Mine is not white people, it's Black, but not Nigerians. So there's this cultural component of it. So Nigerians are in the minority, and you have more people from other areas. So at first, I tried to call a friend who comes from one of those areas to just have a conversation with him to better prepare myself, especially from the cultural aspect, because I know that yes, there'll be that cultural difference and everything. But at all times, this being thing was just, when something happens, I just ask myself, who are you being right now? Who are you being? And I have a team member who is young, very competent, but has a very her attitude can be improved upon. So how I intended to handle her was, just follow through to ensure that I'm operating from the place of being, not using how she has behaved to determine my own state, and then when I decided to take a decision about the behavior in a manner that is corrective, it was also from a place of who are you being, So I mean, I have too many, and this event just happened yesterday. In fact, when it happened, the first question I asked myself is, who are you being? Which Odun is operating now? Is it Odun who is in charge of his mental state, who is in charge of his emotions, who is operating from a place of kindness, love, and correction, or is it Odun who is offended? And at the moment I entered into the state of love, affection, and correction, there was just joy in my heart. So even when I was initiating the actions to correct that behavior, there was no offense, no anger, just love and joy in my heart. But it was an action to correct and remove that tendency, basically. So I have too many of those events to say. I deeply appreciate these sessions. I want to thank everybody who joins us on Saturdays, and because their contributions is what leads to it having a very robust conversation. If Coach Tunde says we should come on the call and is only one talking, most of us will go home and think that the only reason why this is happening is because he's the coach. He has spent 7 years on just being. He has spent over 30 years working as a human being. So, of course, he should be much better than us. But listening to everybody who all joined at the same time, express the learnings and perspectives, allows every other person to know that we can also effect these things within our lives. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Odunaya. Okay, so the floor is open. Okay, so why? I remember one of the reasons why we started the repetition of this particular class. It was Michael saying that he wanted to hear more on how gods, how gods interrelate. Now, I said all problems, and it's not me that really said it. Okay, Dr. Vic, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, class.
Good morning.
Yeah. For me, this class has really helped me because during the week it was just a minor thing that I caught myself. It looks so irrelevant, but for me, when it happened, it was like a major thing in my mind, and I started brooding on it. I have some junior colleagues, and while we were working, I have noticed that when they want to give, I think it's a cultural thing. The Oyibos, they don't really know what is between the left and the right hand. And I know for us, when you want to give somebody something, you use your right hand. But I noticed that when they want to give me something, I think two people like that, they will move it from their right hand to the left. Me, naturally, I will collect it with my right hand. And if I want to give them something, I give with my right. But we were walking, and I noticed that my colleague, I asked her to pass an instrument to me, and she moved it from her right to the left. And I wanted to react. I mentally wanted to use my left hand, but my my hand is engaged as a dent. I don't know why walking. So that thing really upset me, and I started thinking, why are these people doing like this? Is it because I'm Black and they are Oyibos? And I remember what do I want to achieve in this? Who am I being here? Left and right, they are two the same hands that have been brought up to give and accept with my right hand. doesn't mean that these people, they are conscious of what they are doing, or maybe they are conscious when they want to do it. I shouldn't be upset with their attitude. I should just accept it that that's what is happening. So it's just a minor thing, but I could have, challenged and then brought up a lot of confusion while we're working. But I swallowed it, and I don't know. Am I being? I kept thinking within myself, is this what Mr. Tunde wants us to catch ourselves thinking, trying to organize our thought? Who am I being in this place? Is it my culture, or because if you go out to the shops, if you want to give them money, they will collect it with their left hand and give you change. It's not something that I'm noticing only here. It happens. Most people in UK will notice will know, would have experienced what I'm saying now. But it just caught me deep thinking. What are these people saying, or what message is being passed on here? Who am I going to be in this place? But I took a position of being calm, waiving whatever meaning is going to be, because we are not raised at the same within the same culture. So that's the only thing I want to say. It's just something in passing, but I just wanted to mention it here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vic. Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, teammates.
Good morning.
I'm sorry I came in a bit late. I believe we're talking about how we've applied some of the things we've learned in our lives. So I'm so excited because I'm like, okay, I have to share some things I've noticed myself doing too. I can't believe it's me that I can keep recording. So I went for a party. My colleagues were organizing the party. So somehow, they kept on calling me because they believe I am the life of the party. They needed me to come. And they were calling me. I didn't want to go. So when I finally went there, I noticed some things that I was like, the DJ is not trying. I beg, this is not my DJ. Then I went to the particular organizer who was calling me like, where are you? And I complained though. I just want to say, well, this is not the usual DJ. And this person flared up. I'm like, she love you now, they call me since. And which one is this one? He was Reiki. That you money, this money, that. I'm like, I don't know what's happening in the background. Normal Ogechi, I will vex. Hey, I might even shout there. I caught myself I was like, something is going on. What do I want? Do I want to? I was like, do I shout? Do I calm down? Why is this person angry like this, shouting like this? It's just one small sentence. Okay, I thought of myself. Okay, why are you being this moment? You're angry, first of all, don't lie. I say, yes, I'm angry. I removed myself from the environment, sat down. Said, okay, two things. Is either I stay back here, brood, get sock, not dance, not do anything, or go home. I know that if I would stay there, I'm like, but you're even actually caring about what will happen in the moment, as this thing is going on, you're deciding. Unlike me before, I was shun that guy, still have a good time in that party, maybe even change the DJ, scatter everything. That's me. But I sat down, allowed, excuse myself. People had a good time. And then to my surprise, I'm like, okay, what do I want? From that gave me kind of peace. And then I'm like, okay, how do I want, because this relationship with these people, they're the social team and the ESCOs, so it's going to spoil my relationship with the ESCOs. I know myself. I'll go vex. Kai, when they do meeting, I will cause problem. I will talk. I will find out, I will criticize. I said there must be something. Criticism, okay. I had to go and meet the person outside of during working hours. I'm like, guy, what do you, unlike me? And then the person tried to explain. I'm like, okay. But that thing, no try that day. We kind of made, and I'm surprising, the relationship got better. this being class has helped me in my interpersonal relationship with people. And then again, I noticed there's another party today, which I'm going to attend. They're calling me, you have to be around today for at least this time, organizing, so that you'll be a part of the process and see what made me trigger that day. Like, I'm going to be there to at least support, So I'm now being a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem or a part of the chaos, because I'm seeing things differently. I'm starting to check my thought process. Before I would be like, this person attacked me that day because I know be yoga. And wallahi, in the course of the exchange, he said, who are you for me to explain anything to you? I'm like, I would have taken serious offense. Like, okay, who I be, ba? I don't be anything. But I didn't see things that way anymore. I was like, I'm going to be a bigger person here. I don't want this to end in a chaotic way. I don't want to have issues with anybody. And I'm working on my interpersonal relationship with people. And I was able to, like, I found out at the end of the day, this is better like this. And I'm even now being included in the team because I've offered to be a solution. I was able to empathize with the stress they went through in coordinating. So I appreciate this class a lot. Not just here, even my engagement with that my boss I was complaining about. Even though I'm still working on it, but things things are better. I'm seeing things in a way that, okay, what if I was the person that came in newly into a big ocean like this and things are being thrown at me? How will I handle it? So I'm, sort of getting better and better. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. How about you? Your hand is up.
Yes, my hand is up concerning the speaker that talked about left hand. I think we have been trained in the way that we make culture part of our lives and we try to see other people different. But we realize that we grow up to meet these things. And when we integrate with other people, we have to accommodate them also, whether we are in their land or they're in our land. You see, many of us in Africa, even in my culture, Isoko, we don't believe, my mother's place from Isoko, we don't believe that you can use your left hand to drink. And being that any man that has committed a severe offense like murder or destroy somebody, if you use the left hand to drink, if you use the right hand to drink, you will be affected by the gods. That is natural. So if you use the left hand, nothing will happen to him. So we believe that once you use your left hand to drink, something is wrong. Whether your dominant hand is right, is left, you must use your right hand to drink always in a public place. And I looked at this thing. This is a culture. Yes. And also, if they give somebody, normally if we give somebody something with the left hand, we reject it. We say, why? Now, my first son, when he was growing up, was using left. My wife became angry. I said, why? He said, people that use left, she doesn't like it. I said, what is wrong with using left? He said, no, that in Africa. I said, who instituted this, your culture, where you talk now? Where is it written that anybody that uses left, that this is what will happen, that is not the right thing? She said she just feel that she grew up that way. I think there's we need a recalibration of our thought and other people's culture. If I go to US today, if somebody is using left to drink, that is his own culture. It doesn't affect them. But I know where I come from. This is what is stated to me. I have to accommodate that particular person. Because for us to make peace in interpersonal relationship, there is need for accommodation of people's values also. Then we integrate it with our value. Then if it doesn't come with our value, we just observe them when they are doing things that they are doing. Because if by the time you feel that you want to change somebody, something that the person has grown up with, because those people, they don't really care. Like me now, I don't bother. Whether I use your left to drink, whether I use your left to give me anything, hand is hand. God did not tell us the left hand is wrong or the right hand is wrong. We are the one that came up with ideologies that there's this thing about the left, that anything you talk about left, there's a perception. So I never create a perception about it. And currently, I'm teaching on interpersonal relationship. That's a course I'm taking on interpersonal relationship for crisis management. And I begin to look at it, and this is what I begin to say, that these are things that when we live with people, definitely crisis must evolve because there must be differences in values. But to resolve the crisis, we must also accommodate other people's value. So if they give you, because I asked a question to some students jokingly, as if I give you 1 million naira with my left hand with the money, will you take it? All of them laugh and say yes. I said, so why is it wrong when I use left to shake you, you say it's wrong? But when I give you the money, you like it, that the money is coming. I will just laugh it up, and that is it. So we can accommodate them. It's their way of life. We have gone there, or if they come to us, we accommodate them. That is my view about it. So I have no disparity between left and right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Odunayo, your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. No,
All
I
right.
just wanted to confirm that this one you're asking us question. Hope is not this is end of our session. No. Some of us will do a luta continua. Oh.
We'll get to Aluta Continua when we get to the end of December. Okay. So we are doing, those of us who are born teachers here, so even in nursery school, we now try to remember, ask the students what they learned last week. There is something I learned when I attended a course in Atlanta some years ago, Train the Trainer conference for 7 days. There's always a need to recall. Recalling makes it stick. So recalling makes it stick. Now, I know quite a number of us here joined this class from the UK. So let me just say this, when Janice was talking, getting a job and your skin wants to come into the field of play. So it's something that is, you see, when I say that, the way we have been brought up has chipped off a sizable percentage of what is possible for us. Now, I usually say when I take classes or give talks along this lines of international context, so if you want to know whether what people are looking for is just talent, go and examine the world of football. It's not different. Talent in the world of football is not different from talent in the world of management. So what Janice was experiencing, I remember when a company in Northern Ireland, I was hired PwC to recruit a GM for them. And I met the successful person. I'm shocked. The first day I got to the office, I was so self-conscious because as the HRO head was taking me from office to office, there's no, you will see some of the white guys, wow, they brought a black man into this company and he's the GM. Now, but if I look back, much of that self-consciousness was also me. You just see that it is a trade of talent. Mind you doesn't care whether you are black or white, whether your teeth is going up or going down. They are looking for a left shooter that will help them score more goals. That is what the world is looking for. But sometimes being over-conscious, I remember living in Dublin, I was recruiting a lot of Nigerians for companies and I was being paid some fair amount of money by these companies. I recruited one particular Nigerian and the company said I should refund the money, that the guy was just not. When I called the guy in Nigeria, very brilliant. He said, Tini, you know my life for Nigeria. Now black, they serve whites. So when I go there, they said I'm head of estimating. I said, the MD told me that you couldn't even say that on a particular project, that what the key quantities of yours working under you did was wrong. I said, why? He said, to even confront them. Okay. When they laid him off and he was jobless for 2 months, by the time he got the next job, he sat down when he saw the bills pursuing him in Dublin. Now, but it's our consciousness. So it's getting out of this mold, seeing ourselves as second class, second rated. It is a world of talent. It's a world. Look, I finished reading, I wrote about one of the books written by a member here, a member of the group who is in Canada. Oge knows him because him and Oge worked for me in Learning for Liberty. He was senior to Oge. Good. I am amazed. Look, I went through the book for nearly 4 or 5 hours yesterday. And when I was writing the foreword, I'm amazed at some of the things I didn't know about him while he was working for Learning for Living. Uncovering himself and seeing the context from where he was working and what has taken him to Canada, and the beliefs and the mindset. The title of the book, The Power of Intentional Being. Imagine, the power of intentional being. So not because of the time difference between Canada and Nigeria, not being able to be present all the time, but watching this thing. and reconstructing everything. A year ago, he was in the UK. And the next time, no, okay, about a year and 6 months ago, he was in London. Then the next thing is this. As I was going through the books and I saw what led to every change in his life and how he has brought being to be, even me reviewing the book, I was inspired. Now, once we can start identifying all of these little things, Dr. Vic said, I think it was Dr. Vic said, this one is a small thing. If you have studied the power of the atom, what small things can do, you wouldn't. When rackets become solid facts in your life, they can destroy your life. If you can identify the small rackets that have formed who you are today, I know some of us who are new are hearing the word rackets for the first time, but those of us who attended a series of classes, I think we did rackets for 2 or 3 sessions. How you live in a lie. Now again, interpersonal relationships is the only problem in the world. If you listen to what everybody is saying, every input, it always has to do with when you have to deal with another person. When you have to deal with another person. I'll stop here for now. Harold, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Coach, and good morning, everybody. Oh, sorry, my this is on. Just 1 second. Yeah, so I just want to say I've listened to a lot of people who have spoken, and I'm very happy, Coach, for bringing this program out, because by doing that you have really contributed to personal growth and development, and I also pray that this also will take you to higher grounds. You see, one of the things that I've learned here is the power of intention. Your power of intention is very important. That you declare, you state what you really want, and state it in a definite way. Because when I said I wanted to manage a particular station, I stated it out. That look, I want to manage a particular station. And the people around me, they say, that means you be our boss and then you will start sacking us. I say, no, it's not that. What I just look at Tracy God's issue about, be intentional, state it, and this is what you want. And then on that thing, so it's really very important. Then on that one is this issue of managing people, difficult people. That's also, there's one lady, who have been very bossy. You worked so many years, over 30 years in that organization, and everything you do, she must always want to criticize. No, this is not how it's on, this is how it's on. So everybody don't like to work with her. No. So what I said, no, I'm going to work with this lady, and she's going to, I'm going to add value to this lady. Intentional. Say, look, I'm going to work with her. I'm going to add value to her. So I'm going there with the place of, not just being myself, and that by the way I work, I'm going to add value to her. I'm going to, so I look for ways to add value to the person instead of going to say no. Just say, look, this person is going to correct you, or this person is going to look down on you, all those things. So the attitude, the way you see things is actually different. Because you are being yourself. You confront change. And most of the time, when you write something that is, people are scared of correcting, I say, no, who am I being in this thing? I will discuss the issue, and then I will write what I want to write. So by doing that, I find out that I'm influencing her positively in a way that she's more open to accept things from people. The other day I went somewhere and somebody said what I told her, that lady before, she didn't accept, but when I wrote out, I say she didn't say anything. I say because I discussed this issue, try to bring out the positivity in it. So I'm so happy because when I looked at this Joe Dispenza, is it breaking habit of being yourself, and this guy who talked about going to see the mother-in-law, and this time want to see the mother-in-law, the way he cringes and all those things, say, this woman, the smell, the way she talk and everything. But when you read about compassion, compassion and how he wants to to be compassionate, and imagine, and he went there. So the reaction changed, So it is possible to change. It's possible to be yourself. It's possible to influence change. It's possible to be who you want to be. It's possible to turn things around. That's what this being is, to turn this around to your favor. And it has to come from you. You have to be the one who's ready to disrupt. You're ready to leave your comfort zone, because of all these things we do here. Practicing it means leaving your comfort zone, living who you are, and being who you want to be. So a power of intention is really very important. Declaration is very important. It's that we move from zero to the hero that we want to be. But it has to come from you. You have to believe in it, that you can make it, that we are gods. We can do all these things that we need to do to be or want to be. Yeah, one funny one before I left, when Dr. Vic was talking about the left hand issue. So each time my daughter, when she was in secondary school, she wants to give me things. I say, change it to right. She goes to school and everybody give things with their left hand. I say, no, give your right hand. So she was going to give something to the teacher. She wanted to give with the left, and she remembered what daddy said. So she changed to the right and to give the teacher. I said, what is this? What type of weird thing is happening? You know what? That is where we're coming from. So she's behaving within two cultures now. What daddy is saying and what his culture is saying. So it was really confusing for her. Yeah. But we will get there.
All right, thank you. Janice, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say something that has really helped me to practice all what we have been doing in this class. Like Mr. Tunde said at the earlier classes, talking about the context from which we come from. It means that the life experiences we have had, the beliefs we have believed for a long time, it makes us react, or it makes us take the decision, or it makes us respond to anything, you know. So, and one of the things that we now went on to say in this class is, how do you change your context? How do you change what you have believed in for a long time? How do you change what you have experienced yourself? First and foremost, the fact that we did something and we experienced it, the outcome came out in a particular way, does not mean that if we go through that situation again, the outcome will be the same. Because from this class, we have learned that things happen the way they are. You cannot determine the outcome of something. Two people are born in the same house. They become under the same parents, under the same condition, but they experience their parents differently and they became something different in the future. Now, that knowledge should make us know that, yes, we can change our context, even though we have experienced these things. Because it looks as if sometimes your experiences now gives you the audacity to say, no, I'm not changing. I have experienced these things personally. And one of the key lessons that have helped me to change my context, to change my belief, to change my experiences, having attended this class, is knowing that everything is meaningless. There is nothing like should or shouldn't. As you ask yourself, what do I want in this situation? As we ask ourselves, what do we want to gain? One question that should always come to our mind is, we set the bar. There's nothing like should or shouldn't. There's nothing like right or left. It is you that determine that it should be left. It is you that determine that it should be right. So if we are not getting what we want, you need to go back to the bars. You need to go back to the filters that you have set. Because always start with, there is nothing like should or shouldn't. I set the should. I set the shouldn't. Is the shouldn't you have set, is it working for you? Or is the should you have set, is it working for you? And that's where interpersonal relationship, that's where that questions really help our interpersonal relationship. You're dealing with somebody. Say, why did he do this to me? And it begins to hurt you. It's because you have set those parameters. to say this is how the person should behave. That's why you're feeling hurt. If you have said that the person should be using right for you and shouldn't be left, you're going to be hurt. Should or shouldn't. So when you're hurt, tell yourself, is this should working for me or is this shouldn't not working for me? Because there is no should or shouldn't. You are the one. If you begin to know that everything originates from you, you can change your context because you can change that shouldn't and you can change that shouldn't not. And these have helped me when I'm getting angry, when somebody does something and I get pissed. I ask myself, why am I angry? Okay, I'm angry because the person did this. Why do I feel that the way the person did this is wrong? I am the one that set it. If I want to stop being angry, I need to change the bar. I need to change my should and shouldn't. And if you keep practicing, and that's why when Mr. Tunde says, why do you feel you need to reflect after? It is when these things happen and you go back and reflect. That's what gives you the avenue to change your shouldn't and should. Because if you sit down and say, what has happened to me today? This is how I felt. Why did I feel that way? It makes you reevaluate your belief, your context. It makes you reevaluate the standards you have set for yourself. And if you don't like it, you can make a change. One thing we have said in this class, it doesn't mean, it might be that you like it. Then you don't have to change it. Nobody's saying you have to change it. If you feel I like it, I need somebody to give me with the right hand, then continue with it. Is it working for you? Is that what you want? That comes back to the question we say, what do you want? So for me, what has really helped me in practicing what we learn in this class is knowing that my context, whatever context I have, I am the one that set it, whether it's from my experiences, whether it's from what I've been taught. Now that I know that I can change it, I know that there's nothing like shouldn't or shouldn't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I want to give us one challenge. Maybe I don't know whether that would need us to change the topic for just the heading, but so still on interpersonal relationship among gods. So when Omoje was saying the first time she came up, he said something like, I know I know that they are wrong. I can't remember, but I wrote it down, number one there, and I said, how are we sure for real that somebody is wrong? In a world where we are all gods. Now, I'm not saying what Omoje said is wrong. I do it. So I don't know why recently most of my learning has come when I'm at the airport. Most of my awareness, not because I'm just so I do, and I'm just looking at my thoughts. As I'm seeing different people at the airport, Benin City, Warri, Port Harcourt, Lagos, I'm just catching myself what I'm thinking. I'm just catching myself. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, no, that one is wrong. I say, how do you know it's wrong? So the space we give people to be who they should be. So I want us to just have a discussion on it. I don't have the answer. So the space to allow people be who they should be, how it interacts with who we are. I was talking with Ejiro, who is on this group some days ago, and we're discussing something. She drew my attention to something, realizing mental resilience. And I said, going to be a problem if the person who experiences this problem has been living in self-preservation. How do I know that? For many years, I was in self-preservation. I will see things that people can do and say, but I will now see that I worked, those of us who have read Realizing Mental Resilience, so I narrated how in 10 years, I changed jobs 8 times. What was leading to those job changes? Self-preservation. How I should be talked to, how I should not be talked to. until I started coming in contact with how that I am the one that sets this bar of how I should be treated, how I should not be treated. So I know a phrase that I can come up with now, but Janice was talking to me 2 weeks ago. In this class, I mentioned the book, Becoming Nobody. I think Janice went to get it, and she told me she learned a lot of things from the book. I told her, I don't know what I learned from the book yet, but I know that the title of the book is in my library here in Kindle, Becoming Nobody. But when I read it, I don't know what I got. But really, just from the phrase, if you can't train yourself, now it's a challenge, and I am the one that has bulk of the challenge because I know where I'm coming from. If you can train yourself to a place where anybody can tell you that you are stupid and there is no change in you, yours is the kingdom, the glory, and the power. I'll tell you that. If you can get to, because why am I using that extreme? In the world of there is no should or shouldn't. Because what happens in conversation? So I'm in a meeting. Why will I go for a networking event and I don't get up? The fear of rejection keeps me on my seat. The fear of rejection just chains me there. Some people go to a meeting, no contribution. The fear of somebody may say you are wrong keeps you there. Some speak out and somebody expresses an opinion. I remember when I was working in Dartford, England, in one particular meeting, I can still remember vividly. I am just so conscious of you opposing my view. That's self-preservation. Now, to borrow a biblical this thing, the apostle John said, no, it's not the apostle, the one that was killed. He said, he must increase and I must decrease. Talking about Jesus now. Now, if you can come from the place of nobody, that you are a spirit, there is no personality for you to defend. I think it's going to be one of the high points of yet to get to. As I overcame that small challenge in Value Jets, when I came down from the flight, from the airport to the house, I was on the phone for about 45 minutes with Janice. Now I said, but just 2 minutes, I can sit down, I'm at peace. I said, now, to preserve myself, I could have fought the cabin crew, said this is not good, blah, 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 this is not how I should be talked to. My emotions will change. My mood will change. How are we going to deal with the boundaries? Every human being is a God. They have a right to see what they want to see. Now, I remember about this particular training I was referring to when I went to Atlanta. When I look back now, man, I said, man, Tunde, you were really raw. So all of the speakers, 12 hours, 10 hours per day, 7 days, all of the speakers, when you say something, in my mind, as a train the trainer, you'll say, this guy is not a trainer. How can he be talking like this? I'm talking like, is this how training is it how easy to become a trainer in the US? Then I will see the trainer come. I love that. Yeah, I'll say, this is not culture, no work for them. You love what? That thing that he said is stupid. But it was my own unrefined nature at work. That this is how something should be approached. This is not how it should be approached. Now, how am I going to give people, we are talking of giving an aid. How am I going to allow people the space to say what they want to say? Control that. We talk about the things we cannot control. Control how somebody will greet us. We can't control whether they answered our greetings. We can't control. How am I going to be that neutral person and the gas argon, for those of us that did chemistry, I'm not continually reacting. Just fill my day with reacting. Some of us, the reason life wears us out, our interpersonal relationship wears us out. Oh my God. It's just like reacting from why. I remember one of my friends in one of the groups, WhatsApp groups, Unibank WhatsApp group that I belong to. He just called me, Tunde, I want to pull out. This thing is just making my day like this. Now, how are you going to invent yourself in such a way that they are free? So we will react. They are not even talking about us. They are talking about Tinubu. I like Crefodola's boldness. I've watched a number of his appearances at the Southwest Believers Convention. When sometimes in a crowd with 90% whites, he would say some things. I was listening to him a week ago on Southwest Believers Convention 2025, and he said, we are believers. This is a Christian religious convention. He said, but the day we get out of interpreting the Bible according to the color of our skin, we would see things differently. And all the white people looked at him. I said, man, this guy, I said, Tunde, can you say this in a conference? Now, look, the majority are whites, but he's trying to deal with the issue of racism and wearing the lenses of racism to read the Bible. We are always wearing lenses. So now we see things differently. But where does fight come from? Where does war come from? We don't want that book here. The book I got the title from. I think on Audible, the book is free. When we did the series here, God, he said in one of the chapters, he said, look at the armaments, look at the stockpile of nuclear weapons. Because I am right, you are wrong. That's all. So that's what all of what wars, whether it's just in two persons, how I am God. I may not agree with what you are saying, but it don't have to be a reactant. How can we get to this place? The floor is open. I don't have the answer. Who wants to come in? Michael, you brought us to this topic, so maybe you will have something to say. The floor is open for anyone.
Coach, what is the exact question? I listened to it. What is the exact question we are attending to?
So, how do we bring our being to a place where we give people the space to be their being, knowing fully well that their being may rough on us, may rub off on us in a way that we react. But they are gods. They have a right to that thing. The context they are coming from is different from our own. How are we going to, in our being, what practices will help us in our being to allow them to, I used an extreme, you are stupid. If you listen to the audio I added this week, Steve Chandler was referring to Byron Katie. And honestly, Byron Katie can look like she's not a human being. They have done, she said with her mouth, they pointed a gun at me and I didn't feel anything. I didn't interpret anything. And I was looking at them. Now, how do you get, that is a gun. Now, how do you get to the place? My pastor was talking about Peter. He said, 2 guards are with you. They will kill you in the morning. You are snoring. How do you get to the place where you are not a reactant anymore? Michael, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's been very interesting discussion so far. I don't actually have much to say because I don't have the answer myself. But before I even say the little I want to chip in, let me also make a small contribution. We were talking earlier on about how the Being class has helped us. One of the ways it has helped me personally, it has helped me to improve my expectation management. I happen to be somebody who has been seriously impaired by emotions. over the course of my life. And the Bean class has also helped me in that area, in the sense that I'm catching myself more and more in the moment, and it's helping me to manage myself better in that area. On expectations also, it's helping me to manage my expectations more effectively. So that's that. Now on the instant poser you have given, how do we get to that place where we can make room for others to be gods without how do I put it, without
Reacting.
sacrificing, if I may use that word, our own godness? The little I can say, I think others will probably speak their minds. I encourage others rather to speak their minds. The little I can say, the last publication you put out on being gods, I noticed the person used the capital letter G almost entirely throughout the publication, throughout the writing. And what that suggests to me is a school of thought I have observed in the past, where people want to make out man as the ultimate determinant of himself. Some of us will understand what we are doing in this class as that, but in as much as I know that man is a determinant of himself, I will beg to differ a bit from the concept of him being the ultimate determinant. Why? I use a simple argument for myself, not for others. The argument is this. Man cannot be the ultimate determinant of himself because in the first place, he doesn't give rise to himself. That man does not create himself. He only comes into a consciousness that he is, but he doesn't give rise to being him. And when he is to stop being, which is what we call death, he has no control over that. So to that extent, man cannot be the ultimate determinant of himself. He doesn't give himself life. He doesn't preserve his own life, or rather, he cannot prevent his life from being taken away. There is a superior being. And that's where, I had some discomfort with that guy using the capital letter G throughout. For those of us who are Christians, the Holy Book uses the small letter G, which I think is more appropriate. There's a superior being. There is, for those who have read a little bit of metaphysics and all of that, there's what is referred to as the universal mind, the universal intelligence, ultimate intelligence, whatever. That's what those of us who are religionists often refer to, either as God, Allah, or whatever. There's a bigger being that superintends all of us. And I think the answer to the poser lies somewhere in that concept, in the sense that we are all ultimately subject to a higher power. And to that extent, we must be able to define appropriate boundaries for ourselves and not get carried away with the notion that we are the be all and the end all. So if I'm to attempt more specifically the poser you put out, I will probably approach it like this. Yes, I am a god, you are a god, and we must, while exercising our godness or godlikeness, right, understand that we have boundaries. And those boundaries, while they may overlap, sometimes cannot overlap. For example, the boundary of life itself. I cannot, in being a god, take it upon myself to end another life just because it's threatening my being God or being a god. Likewise, I do not expect another person to take it upon his or herself to end my life just because he or she is being a god. That's a boundary that cannot overlap, right? But the boundary of intention, while we both have life, that's maybe I and another party, intention now being what we do with each other or to each other or for each other, can overlap. I can lift up another person. I can attempt to step into another person's sphere of life to build him up, right? For example, in this being class, you sent out invitations. I remember you said, was it last class or the one before that, that when you started it all, it was also to some extent for yourself, probably because you want to improve. But yes, you sent out invitations. We had the option of accepting or declining. For those of us who have accepted and are here, right, we will all testify that we are being improved. Value is being added to us here. So you have stepped into the boundary, into our boundary to lift us up, right? Hopefully we have done the same for you. If it was the other way around, if you stepped into our boundary to run us down, right, most of us most likely would have already stopped the class and run away. So boundaries can overlap for the good. They shouldn't overlap for the negative. Like I mentioned in was it the last time I was talking or the other time? I said in the realm of the spiritual, likes attract. So if, for example, somebody is building me up, right, I will naturally want more of that. If I'm building somebody up, the person will naturally want more of that. So in my being a God, the other person being a God, how does the other person affect me? How is the other person affecting me? If the other person is going to diminish me and I have the means to prevent that without stepping beyond a sacred boundary of the person, a sacred boundary, for example, being what I said earlier on about life, I have every right to take the action to prevent the person from diminishing me. Life is an extreme example. There are other things that, I mean, some people will choose to cripple people. For example, cripple economically, cripple spiritually, cripple psychologically, or whatever. Those are also actions that can be taken, which I think are boundaries that should not be crossed. But every boundary I can take to protect, I can set and guard to protect myself and achieve my own objective, which is to add value to others, I think I am divinely right to take every such action. And every action the other person will take to diminish me or diminish others that maybe I'm trying to hold up, I think I also have divine right to prevent that without violating that's the other party's ultimate boundary. But however, it brings me to an interesting concept, which will seem to be introducing religion. But let me just throw it out because I know a number of us here are practicing Christians. I also believe some may not be. Apologies to those who are not. One of the things I have observed, for those of us who are practicing Christians, we love the story of King David. And we love the fact that God said, oh, David is a man after my heart. I've often wondered, what are the things that made David a man after God's heart? For those of us, again, who are practicing Christians, we know about the praise aspect, we know about the worship aspect, we know about the courage and all of that and all of that. One of the things I found interesting in studying his life was that David was a man who entrusted all judgment to God, all defense to God. You know, it was a little bit shocking to me when I realized it. But if you look at the story of his life carefully through the Psalms and through the books where he's talked about the first, second Samuel, first, second Kings, and all of that, you will realize that that's what he actually did. Why? The only answer I can come up with is that he entrusted himself to this superior being that is all wise, that is all knowing, that we call God, that knows how to compensate everybody and how to judge and sanction everybody who will violate his order, right? So, what am I trying to say? He recognized that there was a superior judge. So, while he drew his own boundaries, he kept the boundaries loose enough for that superior judge to exercise ultimate judgment. Like I said earlier, let me stop here. I've spoken for long, but my final word is, like I said earlier, the answer to how can I be a God and give the other man room to be a God, or the other woman room to be a God, lies somewhere in that concept. Let me stop here for now.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, your hand was up for a while. I don't know if you changed your mind or if it was a mistake.
So along the line, I dropped my hand because I mean the question you asked actually I think is the main reason why I consistently join no matter how tired. Being able to allow people be gods while I am God, and not also be a reactant when in their expressing their godness kind of gets to that place where I believe they shouldn't get to, right? I think that's the question. So this is a thing that I'm still working on, because I'm on people have a right to, even the thing I'm saying is wrong, is right from their own perspective. So how do I not allow that offend me, get me emotional, or get me to react in an emotional sort of way? So when the last speaker was talking, I believe, okay, somehow he has a deeper understanding. That's my own thinking, and he made some points that struck a nerve a little bit. But I think also in my process of growing and in the process of learning what I'm going through the processes I'm doing, I've also observed people who, in experiencing the things I would normally react to, do not take out an emotional reaction. They see it differently. I always tend to get to them and ask me, oh, Oga, how is it that this thing did not piss you off? Like, I always, because I want to know, I want to change. I want to, not like change, but I want to get better. How is it that you're not pissed off right now? I have a mentor who, I mean, even there are things I have done that I expect him to react, but he doesn't react. He doesn't get upset. What he says to me and in the process of growth is, you have to have, it's inside of you. You have to have that peace first, that place of calmness. Find it first within you. Forgive people ahead before anything even happens, so that when it happens, it's not even a problem. That means he has broken down himself into nothingness, that your actions can never get him to a point of reaction. I also asked a couple of other friends who didn't react, and the other person told me something like, anybody who angers you or gets you to react just because of their action conquers you. That's how that person deals with it. Like, to not get to react emotionally, when something happens. Another person says, give people benefit of doubt ahead. So these are practices that you have to consciously be aware of. Hey, I know I give emotional reactions when actions do not go the way I expect it, or people don't behave exactly how I want them to behave. I will be aware of myself first, that this is what I do. I get mad. I get upset. So how do I not do that? I start learning all those things, but it's easier said than done, because when you're in the center of that situation, my brain used to fly out the window, but I will have to start calling myself back. Like the example of the party day. So you have to be aware. Have to keep working on it consciously. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you will not get it. But it comes from within you first. You have to get your mind to that place of calmness, that place of endless forgiveness, endless love, patience. If possible, you can meditate in the mornings, be aware, go out saying, I'm going to forgive anybody that offends me today, no matter what. Because whatever you call offense might not even actually, sometimes when I, after getting offended and I'm reviewing what happened, I find out like, what was all this? What was this about? So you created that moment, you invented it. It's all about working with him. Then for our last speaker who talked about channeling through religion, and there's a higher being who can always help us. The Holy Spirit, personally, my journey with God and everything, the Holy Spirit is real and is on earth. If for those who are Christian who have experienced it, Holy Spirit sort of, I find strength. Sometimes when my head is going crazy, I'm like, oh, Holy Spirit, help me, help me, help me, help. And I find calm, peace, because I don't want to keep person. Other situations also you can benefit from going first to apologize. You feel like someone, just to be intentional about your being now or creating your being, you decide, okay, yes, this person is true, inside of me. By my justifications, they really offended me. But I'm going to go out and apologize to anybody who offends me. And then by the time you start to practice it that way, you see that by the time you think of, I'm going to actually end up apologizing no matter what, I will not actually pick the offense in the first place. So these are some of the practices that you can do to, or someone like me, I try to be mindful and do them nowadays. It's not easy. My ego and my not easy, but I'm trying, sir. Thank you, everybody. I think
All
I've
right, thank you. Mariana,
Good morning, sir.
good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I just
Good
have a
morning.
little contribution. So about the question Mr. Tunde asked, that how do we get to that point where we don't react? It's not something that will happen instantly. It's a continuous practice. So how I try to tackle this is, I think there was a book he sent to us, Living Aware, like living aware, every day living aware. So I try to live aware every day, living aware of my actions, living aware of how I see things, how I see people. And also there is how will I say it? When things like this happen, you do nothing. At first, you do nothing. You do nothing. Literally, you do nothing. So by that point of doing nothing, you begin to live aware, you begin to analyze yourself. So in the sense that you are now slow to reacting, you are slow to speaking, not everything that requires instant reaction or instant, like, let's do it now. So you are slow to speak or reacting because you have to live aware, you have to consciously now analyze and ask yourself, where is this rage coming from? So that's what I try to do every day whenever I encounter things that's going to get to me. And also, you have to also think of yourself of no reputation, because most of us, there is a place we've already set ourselves. We've kept ourselves so high that we feel this is how people should perceive us. This is how people should treat us. This is how we want ourselves to be. Those people don't even know that that's where we put ourselves, actually. So we have to think of ourselves of no reputation. Ego, if it's serving you, quite all right, like we always discuss in the class, if that ego is serving you, if that standard you've set for yourself is serving you, good. But if it's hurting you, if it's damaging you, if it's not serving you, then you have to live aware. You have to think of yourself of no reputation at all. It's not easy, like Sister Oge said, it's easier said than done. But I sometimes I not think of myself as a robot, because before I do something, I tend to calm down and analyze. My mom will be like, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm fine. I'm just trying to see how I'm gonna handle some things that are popping up, So even I think something happened. I took a TV to go to be fixed, my parents' TV to go and fix, and the engineer, I paid the engineer. The man said he has fixed it, but he didn't fix it. So when we went to carry it, we didn't test itself. We just took the confidence that he has fixed it. We brought it home. We tested it. It was different problem that arose. We took it back. That imagine that TV stayed like a month, and my mom was so outrageous with me. She was like, "If it was your junior sister now, that man would be in soup by now." And I told her, that's for my junior sister. Oh, me, I have to. Don't worry, I'll buy you a new TV if the TV is the problem. She said, no, she doesn't want a new TV. Are you trying to condemn this one now? What is it? You can't. You're not like this when you were young. Nobody can. I said, calm down. You people are not going to push me to be what I'm not. I have improved. I have seen life. I have changed. So I'll go. He said, okay, when you go there, are you begging the man or what? How are people having the conversation that this thing is taking like a month? I said, I'm not begging him. I'm just telling him, okay, just try and sort this thing out. So at some point I was like, okay, maybe I should wear another personality, because Mr. Tunde said every every personality we portray is not like we borrow it. So I said maybe I should wear another personality and go and scatter this guy's shop. And something will be like me, like, no, you are going to change yourself in that process. It doesn't end there. You're going to change yourself in that process. So that means all the learning, everything you've learned and taught yourself, you are just throwing it away. So because he gave me peace, I just hold on to that mommy, whatever you want to do, you don't want any to be fight. If you want, just go there and scatter that guy's shop. Go and scatter that guy's shop. My peace is important to me. So do what makes you be at peace. If you know that this reaction is going to hurt you, live aware, consciously make yourself of no reputation at all times. So that is how I try to practice it, because people have a way you should react, but when you don't react, they are surprised, because there's a way the world is. So that's why we're students of
Okay, thank you very much, Mariana. How much of it, the floor is yours?
Okay, I agree mostly with Mr. Mike, what he said. I agree with most of the things he said. Even the gods, those of us that read a lot about history and Greek mythology, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Even those of us that read a lot about Greek mythology, because I like reading history a lot, we see the gods, even in Greek, they fight. Those are gods that are supposed to create. Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, Athena, all of them, they are fighting. Or the gods, they fight. The one we read about that the Greek, most of the ancient Greeks still believe that those were the people that made the world, they fight. They had issues, they have disagreements from different aspects. Now, one thing I strongly agree with Mr. Mike was, I gleaned from his statement was that at least there are boundaries. That boundary is what sets your personality. That boundary is what keeps you. We all have different values, whether we are gods, we have different culture, we have different environment to live in. We have different places we stay. And everybody is affected by where they domicile. So somebody bringing something external, the first thing I should do, whether I'm a god, is this thing beneficial to me? Yes, I accept. Is it not? No, I will tell you thank you. But the thing I like about this is that I begin to learn to ignore a lot of things. Before now, I react to most things. I don't do that again. I can just look at you and walk away. That is the best thing I began to do. I don't pick offense. I don't get angry. Somebody did something and I called the person and the person was like, I said I was angry. It does not mean I will not help you if you need my help. That is just it. And that is the God that I try to be. As the Bible says, ye are gods, small gods. That's when I try to be. I will accommodate you, but I will not accommodate your foolishness. I will accommodate you, I will not accommodate your excesses. Yes, so I will give you the parameter and say, this is a parameter. Don't cross this line. If you cross this line, we'll say a goodbye. I don't hide it. I will just tell you this line is not a no-go area. So we should set boundaries. That is what makes us unique. Like Marianne said something. I think I like that. This thing happened to me just this week. I bought a new rucksack bag. I said the one I was using before is more better. So I want to go and repair it. So that one is stronger and better. I gave this one. The woman said within 24 hours, this thing will be ready. And I needed it. I went there, it's not ready. I went there the next day, it's not ready. I went there 4 days, it's not ready. She began to give me an excuse. And when she told me, she would look at me, I would not say a word, I would just say thank you. She looked at me, okay, you the verse. I said the verse, but I didn't say anything. I would just say thank you, I would walk away. The normal before, oh God, I would have picked a bag and walked with it. Then she would start shouting. But I just looked at it, I was like, the essence, I was like, if I shout here now, people will come and gather. That's my concept now. I begin to understand. When they gather, some people will say, I'll get you said now. Wow, now come on back, say, maybe they shout. Then you'll be at the wrong. Then some people will say, Madam, why you do this one? So you'll be a divide. then people will begin to give me name, which I don't have, for what I'm right. So what I try to do with that perception, that's why I try to ignore people now, because if you quarrel, there are people that will always take sides. People will gather and they will take sides. So what would you do? So in B to do that, I just set my boundaries. Instead of shouting, I will not shout. I will just give people their space. That is one thing I learned mostly from this class, sincerely. I give people their space. I set the boundaries so that when you front the boundaries, if you knock at my door, I don't want to answer you. I will tell you, please, I'm not interested, so that we will not come and quarrel again. Because my sole thought is that anytime you have issue with somebody, there must always be sides. And people will go about saying things. So you cannot misinterpret me now. When you are silent, nobody misinterprets you. So my own concept is that people know when they are wrong. Like a Yoruba proverb, I don't know, but Yoruba proverb says something. He said the wicked knows he's wicked, but he used that wickedness for his achievement. But the day that he will be told that he's wicked, we say, I didn't know, I will change. Not that he didn't know, but because it has been helping him to gratify his personal interest. That is when he will realize that he's wicked. Now, when we say somebody is wrong, it's not an accusation. We know that there are some standard ethics in the world. There are some standard ethics in value. So when you know, me and both of us know this thing, my late father taught me one principle I grew up with. He said, anything you know that you will never take, that if it's done to you, you will be angry. Please never try it. And that is how I live with people. I was young when he told me this thing. He said, if you dry clothes and you come back, you didn't see the cloth is stolen, will you be happy? Say no, then don't pick somebody's clothes. And this is how I grew up with people that knows me. If I know this thing will pain me, then I will first tell you, empathy, put yourself on my shoe first. Then you, where they accuse me, explain yourself. The other God should explain himself to this God that let us see what will happen now. How am I doing it? Then the person will come and say, okay, I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't do that. Because I will first ask you, if I do this to you, will you be angry? Most people will say, no. Really, I will repeat that thing to you. That thing you do to me, I will do it. So people have come to note that, you will repeat it. So I will ask you this thing, if I repeat the same attitude to you, will you take it easily? Then your answer will tell me what I will do. If you say no, then I will tell you, please don't do it again. If you say yes, expect it from me, I must do that same thing to you. Then I will see your reaction again. So the long and short, God has boundaries. Even Poseidon getting boundary for sea. Zeus need to go there. Zeus getting boundary. Hades need to go there. Athena getting. Everybody has their boundaries, so everybody stay in your boundary. So if you are coming to my territory, respect my territory, respect my rules, respect my boundary. All of us will live peacefully in the world. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Omojoye and Michael. I just want to digress to somewhere else. I agree with what Michael said. However, I want to come from the second part that Mr. Tunde talked about. He said, how do you get to that point when you say somebody calls you stupid and it doesn't mean anything to you? Now, the book that Mr. Tunde talked about, Becoming Nobody, I'm actually reading it for the second time. Drawing from that book, it says, Raz was saying that, he said, if you are angry, it is your fault. If you are mad at somebody, it's your fault. When I heard it, I was not saying, why is it my fault? But as I continued to listen to the book, it said something. It said, for every problem that happens, it still come back to what we talk about in this place, interpersonal relationship. He said, a lot of the issues that happen in this world is because people want to be right. He said, if you want to become nobody, you have to give up your right to be right. We are all gods. We are all right in our own way. He said, you have to give up the right to be right. And secondly, he said, you have to stop clinging to outcomes. He said, why do you feel, when you feel something, this is the right way, you want it to happen that way? He said, you become angry because you don't get what you want. You become angry because you feel this is the right way and it's not being done the right way, so you get angry. Say, for example, you tell your child that I need these dishes washed by 8 o'clock. When the dishes don't get washed by 8 o'clock, you get angry because you feel that is the right thing to be done. He said, but if you give up the right to be right, so you find out that those emotions die away. He said, don't cling to outcome. If, say, for an example, you're going for an interview, you really, really want that job. You really, really want that outcome to be positive. You really, really want to get to the job. So when you go to that job, because your mind is conditioned, this is the outcome you want. You have become attached to it. You have clung to it. He said, when you don't get that outcome, see, that is when you feel bad, you feel sad. He said, but if you go for that interview and you don't cling to the outcome, you really want this interview, but you tell yourself, I get the job, I don't get the job, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to put in my 100%. He said, if you don't cling to that outcome, you will not feel bad. So if you want to get to that point whereby somebody calls you stupid, you have to stop, one, giving up right. And secondly, you have to stop clinging to outcome. Every day, we expect things to come out in a certain way. Because we expect things to come out in a certain way, we are clinging to that outcome. When they don't happen, we feel bad, we'll feel mad, we respond separately. I will recommend those that can to read Becoming Nobody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours.
Sorry, sir. I actually forgot something, but with madam, I thank you for mentioning that book. I wish I can just make time to read it. I swear, I feel like I'm missing out a lot. I wanted to talk about the things that some of our team members mentioned on the gods and the boundaries, right? It's really important to have boundaries, but at the same time, I also, from my experience, I realized that I am a God, and I just know the kind of God I want to be. And get you of the past with my boundaries. If you cross my line, wallahi wahala. So, but now I understand that the kind of God I want to be is a kind of God that creates. At the same time, the boundaries are flexible for people to also come in and then be themselves, also be gods around me. Um, I think I just wanted to mention that the kind of God I want to create determines how I react to what people do within my space. I don't want to be a God of war like Kratos, but I want to be a God that creates peace, love, and all that. And by that, I'm able to control the chaos. I realize that when I'm calm in a chaotic environment, or when someone steps into my space or does the wrong thing, I'm actually really creating. I'm in charge. I'm in control. I have my powers intact. When I'm reacting based off of someone's action, then I lose my power as a god. I'm not able to create the future that I want, and I'm not in control at the same time. Allowing people and giving them benefit of doubt gives me also time to change the situation that just one thing that you taught us when we we're learning for living, that be the change that you want to see. And it has really applied in my life, because I've had a scenario where somebody who on a normal day, I don't tell the person off, like, because she's always very, she feels like she knows her right, she knows who she is. So when we come to meetings, she talks blah 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 and blah blah blah. I've tried to, regulated myself from putting her down to her space and giving her a chance to be herself, because this is she being her own God, right? And to my surprise, due to that allowance that I've given, it has created an opportunity for her to approach me recently for a training. And she actually stayed in my house. And the way she talked when she was in my space was, now it created a different light for me to see. I saw her in like, she's not a troublesome person, it's just so being in control of our emotions at that point of chaos, or keeping calm at that point of chaos, does not mean that you don't understand your boundaries, but it allows you to control the chaos, create the future that you want to see, and also make and help your own self. You lose your power. So you are in charge of your space as a God, and then make a better outcome from um whatever that is going on at that time. Yes, most times it might not work out for you. That is where Madam Genesis talk about not holding on to outcomes come in. But I think it's always better to have an idea of what you want the outcome to be like, and make sure that's what do you want. So that's the outcome we're talking about. I want it to be good. But if it doesn't work out that way, it doesn't mean that everything else has failed. It might work out later. There are many outcomes. How do I in this our what do you call it, universe? There are continuous outcomes happening per second per minute. It might be exactly what you want, but not in the way that you want it. It might even still happen the way you want it, but not the outcome that you're looking forward to. That's what I wanted to add, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Harold, the floor is yours. I think you'll be the last person who have to
Okay.
stop this class by 9 years.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much. First of all, I want to ask this Becoming Nobody, who is the author? There are two of them there in Amazon. There is one, there's one James Cato, no, starring James Cato. There is Rick Branch. So which
I
of
think
them?
it's Ras. I'll send it on the group. Ramdas. I think it's Ramdas.
Das. Okay. Ramdas, that's the guy. Okay, Ramdas. Okay, the guy with the white beard. Okay,
Yeah.
looking like Moses. Okay, so you know this issue about being God and giving space to others is actually a mindset issue too. Where are you coming from a place of scarcity or a place of abundance? You see, if you are in authority, so the gods are in authority, are in control, and you want others to be in control, our own mindset is grab and then you give. That's the African tradition. You want Oba Olodumare, you want to be Oba, you want to be the Kabiyesi, others. That's our concept. It's very easy for us, to be servants and then have a leader, because we don't really have that concept of we traditionally we are taught and raised to always respect and look onto somebody, either the king or God. So it's very easy for it to thrive here. But in an advanced country where people don't have that subservient relationship, they call everybody by their first name. They don't do sir, all those things. I even tell my colleagues, don't call me sir, please call me by my first. That's why it's here. Like I think Harriet has given that example, and they will say yes. Someone will say, look, okay, when we are in the public, I'll call you by name, but when we are alone, I'll call you sir. I say no, not that, just okay. So the issue is honestly is that of abundance mentality, mindset. Being allowing yourself to have power, others to have power. That doesn't really diminish yourself. If you have that concept with you, then you allow others to be gods, because you know that it's infinite. The more you give is not the more it doesn't stop you. It's like a teacher. The more the teacher teaches, it doesn't diminish his knowledge. No, so if we have that concept, then we can be gods and allow us to be gods. It's the abundance mentality. It is there. Everybody can be gods, and then you give out. Everybody can be rich, and then you give out. So if we change our concept, our mindset, we will get to that capacity. We can be that and allow us to be who they want to be without really affecting you. And really, it doesn't affect you because there's abundance. This thing can go around. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So I'll tell you the truth. If you can listen to this thing again, and maybe when we continue next week and you are able to bring into your life or an understanding what this whole thing, you'll be able to facilitate a class on interpersonal relationship really, 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 really great. Now, so there are a lot of things that we have all brought up. I don't know whether I can really go through all of them, but I wrote so many things. I'm just thinking of where to start from. So Steve Chandler says one thing. When Ogechi was talking, react and create. I'm writing it now, it's not giving me what he said in his audio. That the words, the letters used for react and create are the same, but they are just rearranged. That when you are really acting in power, you are constantly creating, not reacting. They say you are stupid, but you are going to say, what do I want to create in this conversation? Now, that means your response is not shaped by what the person has said. Now, I've heard it from Steve. I have an audio of Steve Chandler. I've heard it about 10 times, and I'll tell you, I can't tell you whether I've practiced 1%, but like these conversations, they make it stay in my destiny more. So I'm not going to react. I am going to, in reviewing Gold's book yesterday, I saw instances where he could have reacted, where he said he was unjustly treated, but he left the meeting thinking of, what do I want? I said, this being really entered this guy. Not always trying to react. But I don't know if you are like me, I grew up really react. Like you have read Realizing Mental Arrest, really, really reacting, and God is helping me now. So what do I want? When Marian was speaking, Mariana, I had to go, she said something that I've never, you see, sometimes you need to hear things from different perspectives. She said you have to make yourself of no reputation. You know, a Bible verse just came to my mind, and I had to go and read it online as she was talking. Philippians 2:6. It says, though Jesus possessed divine nature and the rights of God, he willingly gave up accepting those privileges, instead humbling himself to become human, taking the form of a servant, and obey God to the point of the death of the cross, demonstrating humility and love. He gave up that right to react. That when he says became human react, God creates. Now, I said it's good to hear things from different things. If I keep training my mind, oh, somebody is saying you are this, you are stupid, you are idiot, and I keep saying, Tunde, what do you want? Then, oh, say this back to him, say that back to him. I'm not exercising any godship. The movies of Jesus that we watch may be fictional or created by men, but sometimes you will just see him stand still. Let him that has not sinned cast the first stone. Now you must be in a state. There is a book, The Space Within. I recommend it too on this topic, written by Michael Neal. How just 5 seconds of deciding not to react can change a conversation. See, the space can be so small, but look inside here. Just use the space. Use that 5 seconds to look inside what you are thinking. I don't know how many of us still remember the concept of documents, which we started in January. There are a lot of us who joined this class along the way that I don't know whether we can review it as part of what we are doing in the last 2-3 weeks. In one of the statements in my document, I am that I speak slowly. I am that I speak slowly. Sometimes there are some mornings that's the only thing I recite. I won't even read the document. Today, yesterday, you were talking so fast. You made so many mistakes. Then in the morning, that was 2 days ago, I used it again. I am that I speak slowly. And I added again. I am that I send text slowly. I am that I send email slowly. I send it because in the auto default, your AI, you are going to react. You are going to react. Now I am retraining myself. No, don't just, they are said you are all the way from Port Harcourt. No, I speak slowly. I will say, I hope you know that's who I am. I speak slowly. Now, so it's like we are in the season of practice. It is practice that is going to make it stick. Now, Michael something, David entrusted all his judgment to a higher power. Now, I want to add, you see, if you do that alone, there are different ways that something can come to you. Sometimes there's not one way to teach something or to learn something. Sometimes if it's just, okay, I want to always entrust, David will always ask God, should I pursue these people? And God will say, pursue them. Then another time, when you will think the way we work as human beings, our default said, because this God said I should pursue Ogechi, when Queen is also talking to me the same way, I'm going to also pursue her. But David will go to God again. Should I also pursue Queen? He said, no, I've not given Queen to you. Now, if we can also take that perspective, it will slow us down. And in one of my statements in my document, in my stillness I am that I am still, and in my stillness is the ability of God revealed. Now, it says, be still and know that I am God. So how many times am I really still in the course of the day?
Should I flash it so that you can have my...
So how many times am I really being still in the course of the day? How many times am I watching myself, not reacting? So I'm praying that we'll really get, this is the heart of interpersonal relationship. I will tell you, when we did the classes on Ye Are Gods, I won't lie to you, it changed how I relate with my driver. The next Monday morning, after we had done Ye Are Gods, I said, my driver is a God. Now, let me make one comment on the article I sent. Michael says the gods, they are capital letter. So the capital letter there may not have been used by the author. So let me just make that caveat. I have not seen the physical book, so I have the audio book. So I will play the audio book and I will use an AI software to transcribe. So the AI software decides where to put capital or small. And sometimes I will now make an adjustment. In that particular transcribing, the AI used some gods as capital, some small. I'm the one who made all of them capital. And I was expecting the reaction that Michael just gave. The physical book itself, I have not seen. But some of what the articles you will get, sometimes you will see the English, AI did not hear it well. You're trying to, so you see AI, if you have used an AI software to transcribe, sometimes you write a sentence, it now sees that it didn't get it well. You can't rewrite a sentence that it has already written. So, but when you are beginning to function in this space, in the morning, then I say everybody is a God. Then I said, my driver is a God. Then the next thing I found out that I'm talking to him from a place of respect, not insulting him, not being rash at some of the things he would just say. Then I'll now say, he has the right. But then as God, I know what I want to create from the conversation. Doing what makes the difference and knowing what to do. Okay. I know what I want to create from the situation. Now it takes me, because now if you look at yourself, if you are standing before President Tinubu, your behavior is different from if you are standing before your driver. Why? You are the same person. They say we are always being. You are inventing a personality depending on how you have sized the moment. But now I'm never going to size my driver as Tinubu, but just the concept that he is a God. Now, it's not a God of, like Michael was saying, maybe the article, he thinks the article says ultimately respond. No, that's not. The way I see the article, you are gods. So what I allow, I decided it. What I allow, what I permit, what I want. Back to our class on filters. When, I don't know who was talking, was it Ogechi? Okay. He said, I forgive them up front. But remember, no, she corrected it somewhere along the line. Because the offense, you created it. You are the one who said you should not be talked to like this. And when you created that rule, you created what people can offend you for. When you are a God, you can also, either you allow it or you disallow it. So there is no offense if you create the space that because they are their own God, they can say anything. But you also have the right to create what you want to create. Now, when people react, they destroy all forms of relationships. People who are constantly reacting, like you will see in the intro of my book, you are changing this. You will change boyfriend and girlfriends until you get tired. You will change husband and wife because you are always in the reacting mode. But now, when you leave, I recommend God's book, the one that is yet to come out, even though he's a member of this thing. When you are intentional, he dealt with the subject of being intentional in a way that even this class has not dealt with. No, what do I really want? Because you see people sometimes who have resigned from jobs, they resigned in the spark of an anger, in the spark of the moment. In this, I was speaking to a niece of mine yesterday, and I said, "You seen Wike in the public in the last 3 weeks?" Yeah, I said, it's good sometimes to get to the end of yourself, and you just see that always reacting. Now, why? You are seeing, Wike is what, about 57 years? You are talking to a 27-year-old person and he's talking back to you. Now, when you become, the Bible says what? Sorry for those of us who are not, Christianity is not our religion. He made himself, if Wike made himself of no reputation, he would talk differently. This guy is a god. Now, but he started, what was the comparison? When I was in university, you were this. Janice was talking about outcomes and I wrote something. I was talking to one of my sons recently, and I noticed that I was trying to have a coaching conversation, but I was directing the conversation to an outcome. I don't even know how, I don't know, these outcomes, I think this is the second time Jan is emphasizing that it has helped me. I said, Tunde, you have an outcome that you want this boy to fall in line with. Why not leave it an open-ended creation? That's what coaching is about. A coach doesn't know where the coaching conversation will end. But when you want to be in charge of everything, and some of us were unconsciously like that. So you start a conversation with your daughter or your son, a friend, or a subordinate or a superior. There is an outcome. You call it prayer. But leave the thing free. Leave the prayer that you are trusting the outcome that it will work together for your good, rather than you are going to control it. So you will see that when you are trying to control an outcome, whatever the other person says, you are still, you are bending it. A coach has the right to ask plenty questions, but you can ask questions in a way that it is being tailored to only one goalpost, nothing else. But when you really want to allow creativity to flow, there is no goalpost. You are not trying to manipulate anything. I welcome what Omojere said, and I'm going to look for a movie, I pray within the next 1 or 2 weeks, to watch on the wars of gods. I think it will help me to just see how gods fight. So gods fight, they fight. Yes. But first of all, when we change the place from where we are coming, this person is just as God. Like I said, my concept of God is the context I'm coming from. Now, that me and you, we are traveling to Abuja doesn't mean that we are going to be doing the same things. Also know that if Michael is traveling from Kano to Abuja and I'm traveling from Warri to Abuja, Google is not going to give us the same instructions. Because we are right now, in today's class, we are different beings. The context of our life today is different. So that we are going in the same direction doesn't mean that we are going to take the same instruction. The distances are different. The road instructions, the turns left or right are different. So right now as we are here, we are all, sorry I'm talking so fast because I'm looking at the time. Michael, I will allow you to speak briefly. So that we are going to the same place doesn't mean that we will do the same things. We are first of all in different locations, and from there we are heading to Abuja. That is what we want to create. We are going to create differently. We are going to make space in our being that these persons we are talking to, they are not in the same place currently with us. From where we are approaching, even though we have both agreed on the same destination. Michael, let's meet in Abuja. Let's meet in West Park View Hotel, Koyi. Let's meet here. We are coming from different directions. We are going to take different instructions. We are going to create differently. Okay, I hope I have written down all the things I wrote in my notes. Michael, the floor is yours. We're closing in 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks very much. No, I don't really have anything to say. All what you have said is noted. I note your comment on the capitalization of the G's. I just want to ask a question. The young lady who mentioned the book Living Aware, who's the author? That's why I raised my hand. I want to know who the author is.
Okay, Ramos. I think it's Ramos. That's
Ramdas?
No,
Ramdas
Ramdas is on Becoming Nobody. Becoming Aware, Living Aware. That was a different book mentioned.
I have one, Living Aware. It's written by, I'll post it on the group. I'll post it
thanks.
on the group.
If she's hearing me, maybe she can, if she can also comment. It's probably by the same author, but I'd like to know.
I will check. Well, if the person is here, you can put. But I know I have one that is also helpful. I'll send it to the group. All right. This is 9:12, and I hope we have enriched one another's lives. And personally, I will tell you, like, these classes, they are open-ended because I know one or two classes when I started in January, more than one or two classes, where I am trying to bend the class to an outcome. I'll tell you, even in facilitation, you learn on the job. But as I continually broke myself, I found out that because I said to myself, Tunde, you know this class must benefit you, not at the end of the year. You were trying to get to, there is no end, there is no this thing. And I just pray that in this series of practices and focus on interpersonal relationships, the hallmark, the peak of all problems in the world, nothing more than that. All problems, all wars, all the nuclear bombs we are storing in submarines, this is the problem. You are wrong, I am right. I am right, you are wrong. How are we going to give space for that? Thank you so much for making today's class, and see you next Saturday.
All right. Thank you, coach. Thank you, teammate.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
sir.
Thank you, teammates.
Thank
you,
you.
coach. I wish you all a
So go
wonderful
and
day.
practice being God.
Thank you,
If
coach.
somebody
Thank you,
can
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have
Go
a
and
nice
Thank you,
practice.
weekend.
everyone.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Please practice and come to class next Saturday with how the practice went. Practice, learn how to take you are stupid and you are unfazed. I'm waiting for somebody who will come to class now. I was abused and I didn't move. I
Ew,
didn't move.
thank you.